I've created the best football player to ever live, but I've trapped him on the world's worst national team. Meet Diego Pele, a 16-year-old forward with the maximum attributes in every area of his game, from finishing to passing. He can do the lot, all whilst being absolutely massive at 6'11" and a beast at 120 kg. I've given him the perfect rating in game and maxed out all of his hidden attributes, so you'd think this player could go on and win absolutely everything. But there's a challenge, because as you might have noticed, his international team is San Marino. One of the smallest footballing nations in the world, they've barely ever won a game in their history, and whilst all the major international teams are ranked pretty highly, San Marino are the lowest ranked team in the game, 210th place ranking, next to the likes of Liechtenstein and the US and British Virgin Islands. So it might be crazy to say, but today, I'm going to ask that perfect player to help win San Marino the World Cup. But how are we going to do that when we can't even win a single game in the last year, and we're losing 8-0 to the likes of Finland and 3-0 to Kazakhstan? Well, not only is that perfect player hopefully going to help the national team improve, but we're going to be setting him challenges every year, and if him and his international team achieve them, we'll be spinning a wheel to give our team some boosts. Now, the wheel can give us bonuses like adding a Ballon d'Or winner or creating a perfect wonderkid for our national team, but it's all going to be down to chance and for this wheel to give us hopefully the boost we need. Because whilst Diego Pele might be a 5-star player in the international squad, he's also playing with the likes of this guy, Alberto Tomasini, who right now is ranked at 1 star. He's a free agent and he's basically got no football ability at all. Now, there's a mixture of abilities throughout the squad, but just to show you how poor some of the worst players are, the best player in the team outside of Diego Pele is Felipe Fabri, who's a player that's playing his football in the Italian 3rd division by the looks of it. So if outside of our superstar he's our best player, we're going to struggle. And our first challenge for this San Marino team to get any kind of boost is simple: to win a game. And considering how bad our form has been, that's going to be a real stretch to do. But our first game of this year is to go away to Azerbaijan to play them in a friendly. And whilst you might look at a team like them and assume they're beatable, they're still nearly 100 places above San Marino, and that really shows a challenge we've got on our hands here. But can having the world's best ever player on their international team give them a chance? I guess there's only one way to find out. And so our challenge began, our sky blue San Marino team taking on Azerbaijan, and we went 1-0 down early on. But of course, we have the best player to have ever lived, and the tall Pele got his head to the ball to make it 1-1. So we had our first goal as international manager, but it was soon cancelled out as Azerbaijan scored a brilliant goal to go in front. But thankfully, we battled back as Diego Pele pounced on an error from the defence of Azerbaijan, hit it from distance, curled it in, and from that point, nothing really happened, and we got our first kind of result of the video, as the challenge began with a 2-2 draw, with Diego Pele dragging us to that result, very evenly matched in the game overall. But we're not getting our first win, and we're not getting our first boost, so we're gonna have to keep going for now. And one thing that will be interesting to see as well is, as we go, will Diego Pele make any moves? I'm not gonna act as his agent, but right now he's playing for the San Marino Academy, and because of that, not many scouts have found him or realised how good he is. So he's currently only earning £130 a week, so the first club to find him are going to get themselves a gem. And annoyingly, I'm looking at this wheel on my screen with all the different boosts we could get, knowing I can't get any of them right now, but our fixtures have been released for the rest of this year and we've got a little chance to win. We're playing Georgia away in a friendly who ranks 75th, and with star players are likely going to prove too difficult, but we are going to be playing Liechtenstein in a friendly as well, a team that ranked only just higher than us, we might actually have a chance of beating. And that'll be a good test as well, because later on, in a few months' time, we're going to be facing them and Lithuania in our Nations League group, which has been drawn. But we can't get ahead of ourselves just yet. Georgia away and Liechtenstein away, if we can win any of those games, we'll earn ourselves a boost. So at a second time of asking, the question is, can we get a victory? Well, I must say, things didn't look great when we conceded after 2 minutes. But this is a new look San Marino side with a 6'11" monster in our forward line, and he charged forward on his own pretty much and scored a brilliant goal to equalise. And I can't blame the Liechtenstein defence of being scared of him because he's absolutely massive, but it was Lizari who got the second goal. Our opposition fought back though, and in the first half alone, we showed the weak defence that we did have, as it was 2-2 pretty quickly. But we managed to kick on as Berardi got into the area and got the third of the game. And it was that man again, Berardi, with a brilliant curling shot to make it 4-2. Pele was then able to rise to make it 5, and for what I can only assume is the biggest result in San Marino's history, we got another to win 6-2. Now that was of course a massive result and Pele was a big part of it, but there was 2 other players that you might have noticed in that game that did quite well. The first one is Lorenzo Lazzari, a 22-year-old San Marino international who's got 2 goals and 11 caps, with one of them coming just then. And Filippo Berardi, a regular for the international team who scored 5 goals in 33, now 28. He's playing his football in the non-leagues of Italy and doing very well there, so clearly there's a bit of talent in his legs. But the main thing is this: we went out, played Liechtenstein, won 6-2, and that means of course we get a spin of the wheel, and fingers crossed we get a big boost to help our team. So for the first time in the video, we're going to spin the wheel and see what we get, and it's spinning, and we land on... Okay, this could be a great one. Steal the Ballon d'Or winner. Now at this stage, the Ballon d'Or in the in-game world hasn't yet been released, so Lionel Messi is the most recent winner, but of course in real life we know after he won it, Rodri was the man to win the Ballon d'Or, and for that reason, he's the most recent winner, and he's going to be turning San Marinese. So welcome to the international squad, Rodri, who is going to be a great addition to the base of our midfield, obviously way better than anyone else in our team, and with him at the base of the midfield and Pele up top, we've got 2 elite players there to start building this team around. Now some of you at home might be watching thinking, wow, now you should go and win the World Cup. It doesn't work like that. As good as Pele and Rodri are, the rest of the team, they're basically part-timers who are playing in the lower leagues of Italy or some in San Marino themselves, and even the guys that are considered really good players like Nico here. I mean, he's playing for RZ Garno, who again are a team in the really low tiers of Italy. So these guys aren't exactly going to be lacing the boots of Rodri and Pele, but look, it's something. We've got some nice additions to our team, and that's going to carry us nicely to the Nations League now, which is our next stop, because we have just played the other friendly against Georgia. We lost that 4-3. Rodri is not yet in the team though. He'll be with us in the next camp, but it does kind of show we can go toe-to-toe with a big team. I say a big team. Georgia compared to us are massive, even if they did have a player sent off in the 36th minute. So the task from now is simple. We finish off the year with the Nations League, we're going to simulate ahead till then, and if we can go out and win that, it's a big challenge, but if we can, I'm going to class that as a big success and worthy of a wheel spin. And so, we're now ready for our first ever competitive matches. Friendlies are out the way, and now we're heading into the Nations League, hoping that Rodri and Pele will be enough for us to try and win our group. But could we do it? Only time will tell. First though, if you are enjoying the video, smash the like button for me. It helps massively on the channel, and subscribe too if you haven't already. Make sure you go down below and let me know what video you want to see next. And if you want to support me, then check out the Patreon, linked in the description. Over there, not only will you get access to watching these videos early, but you'll be able to have your name in the game as a new gen, and of course, you'll be getting the save files from every video we do. So if you want to take over with this San Marino national team and try and win the World Cup yourself, you can do it. So it's all down below, and massive thank you for the support as always. I appreciate you listening, but let's get back to the team and seeing how we did in the Nations League. We matched up against Liechtenstein again, who we managed to beat 6-2 previously, and this time Pele scored 4 in what was a 7-0 demolition of the team closest to us in rankings that we've played. On to the next, where the other team in our group was Lithuania, and they came to our stadium for a home match in San Marino, where of course Pele scored a header, and it was him again who was terrorising defenders. Despite being absolutely massive, he was running past people with ease and scoring goals. And if a 2-0 victory wasn't already enough, you already know who's going to get the hat-trick, as Pele managed to score a third in a 3-0 beating of Lithuania. In the reverse fixture against Liechtenstein at our home stadium, we managed to beat them 5-0 with Rodri getting his first goal for the nation, and just like that, we had the chance of winning our Nations League group. It was between us and Lithuania going into the final game. If we won, we'd secure the title. If they won, it could be theirs. And whilst overall, you could easily argue Lithuania's squad is way better than ours, we managed to get across the line because, believe it or not, we have the world's best striker, and he can score goals, as he managed to score 2 in a 5-2 victory where they only scored their goals late on. And just like that, we finished top of our Nations League group with 12 points, way more than Lithuania and Liechtenstein. We really won it anyway. Goal difference would have saved us even if we'd lost that last game, but we have absolutely destroyed the teams with us. So having proven our worth now, how far up the world rankings have we gone? Well, not very far. We've jumped to 207th place, rising above the likes of Anguilla and the British Virgin Islands, still below Liechtenstein. It's going to be a long old slog if we want to get to the position where we're considered one of the best, but at the end of the day, we did what was asked, we won the Nations League group, and that means a spin of the wheel and a boost to our team. So we've already had a Ballon d'Or winner, and now we're going to add to that team, steal a player from the first place nation in the world. And if you have a look at the current UEFA rankings, we can see Argentina are the team sitting in first place. And their national squad is stacked with talent, the likes of Lautaro Martinez, Lisandro Martinez, Enzo Fernandez, Barco, Julian Alvarez, and Christian Romero. And I've got to try and pick just one of them to join our team. Now, in terms of ability, there's no denying Lautaro Martinez is probably the best pick, but at age 28 and the fact he's a striker, well, we already have Diego Pele, I think I'm going to give him a miss. And if we do the opposite and look at the youngest player in the national team to try and be with us as long as possible, Valentin Barco could be a good addition at 21, but when we've got this opportunity, do we really want to use it on the left back? I don't think so. So the Chelsea fan in me sees Enzo Fernandez as the best option, a high value player, so clearly one of Argentina's best, who's still only 24, he could be here for another 10 years yet in a San Marino shirt, and with the ability he's got, I think we know who's going to be joining Rodri in the midfield. So with that, let me work my magic, chop up his passport and give him a new one, and suddenly Enzo Fernandez is a San Marino international, 24 years of age, coming in of course as a 5-star player. He partners very nicely along with Rodri in that midfield three, where we're only one player away really from having probably the world's best midfield, with Rodri in there and Enzo Fernandez. If we discount all the terrible players that are on the bench, they're currently alongside Lorenzo Cappiaccioni, a 23-year-old who must be feeling pretty lucky alongside Enzo and Rodri, but maybe not when he looks at his bank account and 170 quid a week. There's some interesting times ahead for our star striker though, as Diego Pele, who scored 17 in 8 for the international team, is now attracting interest from across the world. He's been let go as a free agent, or at least he didn't want to sign a deal at his team, so now he's available for some of the world's biggest clubs to try and sign. But what is next for our San Marino national team? Now we've got 3 new superstars in our squad, we're going to need them, as the next thing that we've got ahead of us are World Cup qualifiers. But there's a slight problem. Because whilst qualifying for a World Cup is already tricky enough for a team like San Marino, it's made trickier when we've been drawing in a group where only one team can go to the competition, and in that same group is Spain, the team ranked 7th in the world. We've got Sweden, ranked 34th, and even when you see a team like Finland or Luxembourg, they are still over 100 places higher than us. And because of that, qualifying for the World Cup is going to be, without being too harsh, next to impossible for our players that, I mean, most of them are still part-time. So how are we going to do this? What is the aim? Well, I'm saying if this San Marino team can win one match in World Cup qualifying, I think we'll take that as a huge victory for the nation, and we can build from there with a new spin. And first up might be our best chance of all to do that, as we're going up against Luxembourg. Now they're a team with some good players in their squad. One favourite of mine is Danny Motta, and he ended up tearing us apart as we lost 4-3. We then invited Sweden down, as Alexander Isak proved to be one of the best strikers in the world, scoring 1. But we managed to show just what we could do, as Diego Pele, the best striker in the world, brought the ball down and made it 1-1 against a very good nation in the Swedes. But unfortunately, our first win was not to be. After having Isak score already, Gyökeres was up next, and it was 2-1 to them. Kosovo were the next opponents though, and as they came to our stadium, we got off to a 3-0 lead, only for Diego Pele to miss a penalty, and then we conceded 6 in the second half. So 3 games played, 3 losses, and it didn't look like things were going to go much better, as we took on a Finland team that were doing well themselves. So across the pond we went to Finland, and Pele actually got us off to a great start, 1-0. And clearly he liked playing in this country, because from the centre, he sprinted after the ball and scored again. He didn't even let them have another touch. And just like in our previous match, we got forward, Pele got his head to the ball, and we were leading 3-0. So the question was this time, could the defence hold out? Well, as you can imagine, Teemu Pukki goes forward, and after some calamities at the back, Finland get one back. And once more, Finland bypass Enzo and Rodri in the midfield to easily beat our defence, and it was 2. But thankfully, we pulled up our socks, and that meant Pele got his hat-trick in the game. Actually, come to think of it, he was now on 4 goals, I believe, and before you knew it, he chested the ball down and it was 5. He was then taking the corner as we managed to get a 6th goal with Rodri heading in from close range. And despite a late scare where Finland got forward and made it 4-3, we managed to see the game out despite the massive XG of Finland and the dominance they've shown. Pele's ability got us over the line and we won a match. And qualifying for the World Cup was a million miles away, with Sweden out in front with 10 points, but we weren't rock bottom. We had managed to get ahead of Finland and they were doing pretty well, managing to secure 3 draws so far, including one against Spain. But we have done the business, we've got to win, and that means we get a spin of a wheel for the rest of our qualification stage. So let's go for our next spin and see what we're going to end up with as we land on... This could be really good. A 200 current ability goalkeeper. So welcome to the San Marino national team, our new keeper, Petr Kač. Named after one of the best keepers to ever do it, we have a brilliant option here in the net who is going to be the San Marino #1 for years to come. He's currently playing at Vålerenga, but I'm hoping he'll get a bigger move later in his career. For now though, I don't care about his club career. We have a world-class keeper between the sticks. And for those of you wondering, where did Diego Pele end up? He had the pick of all the clubs in the world. He decided to go for Brentford, who took the punt on the man from San Marino that other clubs maybe weren't ready to. He's gone in there as their star player at age 17, and in his first season at Brentford, he played 15 times, scored 10 goals with 2 assists, already becoming one of the most clinical strikers in the division. He's now valued at around 100 million quid, and scoring 26 in 12 for your international team, you can see why there were clubs interested. But he's earned himself a move, and without getting too far ahead of myself, I think we are looking at this team now and going, you know what? It's not looking too bad. I still don't think it's amazing, of course I don't. Some of the players in our reserves, for example, I'm probably might be a little bit better than, and I can't even kick a ball very well, but there are some stars in this team that we can hopefully rely on. Pele for the goals, Fernandes and Rodri for the midfield stability, and now even if that defence gets beaten, Petr Kač is there in the goal to hopefully stop us shipping as many goals as we have been. But there's some big tests ahead for our players, and I'm going to set them a big challenge. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. Our team is on the up, and if we can crack the top 200 nations in the world and work our way up the rankings based on our results in this World Cup, I'm going to say that's enough to earn ourselves another spin. But let's see how we do. And I'll be honest, the World Cup qualifying group, I thought we might start to win a few more games, but it didn't go that way. Having lost to Spain and Sweden, we also went on to lose against Luxembourg in our home fixture, with Petr Kač not having the best game. We did manage to secure a draw against Finland though, proving we're just as good if not better than them, before we secured another draw in a 2-2 match against Kosovo. And then there was Spain, where despite playing the game with 10 men for the majority, we lost 7-3, which I actually don't even think is that bad of a result, despite the mad XG that we gave them. And that led to a pretty disappointing World Cup qualifiers, where actually I didn't even know, the second team also is qualified, but we finished nowhere near that. They had 24 and 26 points, we had 5, all the way rock bottom, 2 points away from Luxembourg, but at the end of the day, that didn't matter to us. As good as it would have been, it was a long shot. The main thing was if we could crack the top 200 in the world. Now currently, I'm scrolling down and I am still not seeing San Marino as we get to the 185th, 190th, 199th, 200. That counts. It might not be by much, but we have overtaken Somalia and the Bahamas to be the 200th ranked team in the world. And that means, of course, we're going to get a spin of a wheel and hopefully some improvements to our defence so we can stop conceding 7 against teams like Spain. So let's give our wheel another spin and we are going to end up on Steal the Next Gen winner. Not bad actually. Now the Next Gen award is one that highlights the best young player in the world in Football Manager. It's recently been won by players like Jude Bellingham. So which player has it ended up with for us? Well, quite disappointingly, and I say that in a bit of an air quotes because he's still way good enough for our team, it's Lewis Miley, who's a great player in his own right and a wonderkid, but he's not exactly the kind of player that's going to revolutionise the national team. But who cares anyway? We've got passports to give out and we've given him one. And now we have a San Marinese Lewis Miley. He wasn't getting in the England team. So now he's going to make up a very strong midfield for our national side with Enzo Fernandez, Lewis Miley and Rodri. I don't think that's too bad. I would say purely from Fernandes and Rodri, we might have the best midfield in the world in international terms. Currently, it says our best keeper is this guy, Colombo, but that's because Petr Kač is actually injured right now. But outside of them, a player that's standing out is still Filippo Fabri, who's now playing for Cittadella in the Serie B, so he's made his way to the second tier of Italian football. And Nicolo Nani as well seems to still be doing really well. I should not underestimate what he's been doing for us in an international shirt. He is currently still playing playing in low league Italy. So as much as we have these stars, they're still surrounded by some duds. But obviously, with the World Cup qualifiers out the way, it begs the question, what is next for our international side? Well, we've got two friendlies coming up, Ireland and Andorra. Both away from home, we're looking at a team that is ranked pretty similar to us in Andorra, who we could beat, but Ireland are a team in the top 50 in the world. But because this is only a friendly, I'm going to set the challenge high. If we can go out and beat Ireland in the top 50 in a friendly, that'll be a wheel spin. Otherwise, I don't think there's anything we can do that's worth it. It's only a friendly match, so for it to really mean something, we need to beat the big boy. Now, it must be said, we are way better than our ranking shows, because we've gone out and beat Andorra in that match 11-0, with Pele scoring 4, Miley getting a goal, Rodri with 4 himself, and Julian Perini, who is this 21-year-old striker, also getting his first goal for the nation. So that was a huge result for us. I shouldn't underplay it. We beat Andorra 11-0, but of course the main aim for us was going out and trying to beat the Republic of Ireland. And this really was a battle for the ages. Pele, our captain, managed to make it 1-0, putting it past Kelleher early on. Ireland, though, came straight back and managed to score a header past our perfect keeper to equalise. Set piece expert Pele then played it in for Rodri, who headed home in off the post to make it 2-1. And the Irish fans were absolutely stunned when the ball fell to Berardi on the wing. He managed to play it into Pele, who once again rose highest and made it 3. After some boos at half time, Ireland came out fighting though, and straight after the whistle, they managed to make it 3-2. And despite having the best keeper to have ever lived in goal, unfortunately, Catch couldn't catch this one from Harley, who made it 3-3. But with the scores level, Lewis Miley played a brilliant first time pass to Enzo Fernandez, who slotted through Pele, who finished to make it 4. And with a huge win in our sights, unfortunately, we conceded from the penalty spot. And with the scores level and minutes ticking away, Pele's corner found Rodri, who powered home the header and secured us an amazing 5-4 win against the Republic of Ireland, a top 50 team. And of course, that means we're getting an extra spin. But credit really must go to this man up top. Brentford star forward, now valued at 150 million. He's played 20 times for us on an international front, and he scored 41 goals at only 18. What a player he is, already one of the best goal scorers in the Prem too. Catch, on the other hand, hasn't really impressed me all that much in the net for San Marino just yet, but maybe he needs a stronger defence in front of him. And he'll be hoping in this wheel spin we can get some kind of defensive boost, but we land on only just reset player age. Now, I put this one in here knowing how long the challenge was going to be. There were going to be some players that got too old for the international side and wanted to retire, so there was one player whose age we could reset. And looking at our squad right now, if we go by the age rankings, the oldest good player in our team is 30 years of age, and it's Rodri, and I'd like him to be around forever. So using that special wheel spin, I'm going to reverse the clock, jump back in time, and just like that, we have an 18-year-old Rodri, who is still one of the world's best players, but has another 20 years yet in his career as a San Marino player. Man City will be the benefiters of this decision of mine to reverse his age, but there you go, Rodri is now 18, and we look ahead with the San Marino team with a pretty good squad now. The question is, what's next for them though? Well, for the rest of this season, we have a Nations League group where we've obviously been promoted to a new group that contains the likes of Montenegro, Estonia and Cyprus. But before that, we have friendlies against Albania, ranked 79th in the world, and Bulgaria, ranked 75th. Now currently, despite all the upgrades, we are still ranked over 100 ratings higher than them at joint 195th place. So I think this one again is pretty simple. We beat Ireland only just, and we proved we could beat teams close to us in Andorra. If we can get a win against European sides like Albania or Bulgaria, I'm going to say that's enough for another wheel spin before the Nations League. And perhaps proving just how far we've got to go in this video, Bulgaria came to us with an empty stadium, no one even caring to watch us, as they managed to beat us comfortably 3-1. But we also had that friendly against Albania, and let me say, that was much closer. We got off to a great start over in Albania though, as Rodri scored from the corner, but not even 1 minute later, we saw them come up the other end, and a ball to Armando Broja found this guy in the edge of the area called Bear with a great finish, to be honest. And the wheel spin was not looking very likely, as Mehmeti got forward, managed to play through Bear, onto Azuni, onto Broja playing on the wing, who power passed what is meant to be the best keeper ever. And all within the first 20 minutes, there was a chance for us to equalise, as Nani got down the left, dribbled past his man, and with a great cross found Pele, who was never going to miss, 2-2. And it stayed that score until the 75th minute, when Rodri played through Nani, who has proven to be a great star for us, and he scored again. One of many goals in his San Marino career had put us in front But Rodri and Enzo Fernandez, of all people, made a mistake at the back, and very, very late on, it was an equaliser for Albania. So the game was up, there was going to be no wheel spin, a 3-3 draw as we headed into the final minutes, but with 94 minutes on the clock, having just made a mistake, Enzo Fernandez wanted to make up for it. As Berardi picked up the ball on the right wing, he slotted it through with a great pass, Enzo Fernandez scored, and we had managed to do it. We beat Albania with San Marino, and that means another spin of our famous wheel. Now, resetting Rodri's age was great, but I want something that actually improves the team, and we have got a youth intake buff. Now for this, what I'll be doing is taking 3 San Marino youngsters and giving them the potential of an elite player at 160. Not enough to be one of the world's best, but enough to be, say, a good Premier League starter for a top 6 team. The only issue is, it's only potential, and these players are going to have to develop before they get there. And I've made some wise choices because I've put this potential into some defenders. The first one is Stefano Bartolome, who is a 15-year-old defender who, as you can see, I have gone ahead and given that 160 potential ability to. I'm also thinking about the future and trying to bolster the defence with Michael Forcellini, a 16-year-old centre-back who again has that same potential to be a very good player. And the other one, I'll be honest, I picked purely based on name. He's going to be a top right back down the line if he develops. His name is Francesco Broccoli. I promise you I have not changed that name, that's his real name, and with 160 potential ability, he could be a star, but again, right now, he's probably about as good as your nan at playing football. That's the kind of players that we're dealing with at this stage. So considering the facilities in San Marino and the clubs they're playing at, it might take them a long time to develop, but they are there, they are ticking along, and maybe down the line, they can help us out. But of course, with our friendlies played, next up for our international team is the UEFA Nations League, where we're in a much harder group now. 3 teams that I think would consider themselves probably about our level at this stage. So it's a big ask, but again, I'm going all out. We need to win this. If we can win the group and get promoted again in the Nations League, that will boost our world ranking and hopefully boost our confidence ahead of the Euros coming up. So with a much tougher Nations League group this time around, the question was, were we able to come out on top? Well, we beat Estonia in our first game away, 4-2, before getting the same result against Cyprus. We then beat Montenegro 4-3, so at this point we'd beaten all of the teams in our group pretty convincingly. But we sealed the deal with an 8-1 win against Estonia. We won another one of our matches and drew the other, meaning we didn't lose a single game in that group. And for that reason, not only have we won the group, we have won it by a distance, with 13 goal difference, which is 12 more than our closest competitors in Cyprus, who picked up 10 points. We had 16, won 5. We did exactly what we needed to, and there are some stars budding in this team outside of the guys we already know. The first one I want to keep an eye on is Matteo Huber, who isn't one of the guys that we gave really good potential to. He's just a natural youngster of San Marino who at 16 is already in the international team, and whilst he isn't great, I mean, he's here competing with some of the older guys. But a big focus still needs to go on Nicola Nani, who is keeping up with some of the best players in that team in terms of goals, and Berardi too, who is now 30 years of age, probably doesn't have that long left in his international career, but has been a key player for us over the years. And for those wondering, the 3 youngsters that we've been developing are nowhere near good enough yet to even be included in the national team pool, never get picked up in the national team squad itself, so there's a long way to go there, but at the end of the day, we set this current team a task to win the Nations League group. They've done it, they're getting promoted another level, and of course, more importantly, we get a spin. So ahead of the Euros, we are adding an extra boost to our team, and we are getting, okay, a defender plus 100 current ability. This means we can take any defender in the squad and raise them by 100 CA. So if we take a look at the team, we need to figure out who would be best spent on. Now the best defender we have is this guy, Filippo Fabri, but he's currently sitting at 89 current ability. If we boost it by 100, we will have a world-class defender, but he is already one of the best, so do we boost one of the worst ones? And because we were so light at centre-back, I felt this guy might be a good choice. He's a left-footed defender, which don't come along very often, and he's sitting at 53 current ability, so I have boosted it by 100 to 153. So the only thing now is to simulate ahead, let those wonderkids grow, let that defender grow into the player that he now will be, and of course, get ready for our next set of fixtures, the Euro qualifiers. So far, the San Marino journey is going well, but to win a World Cup, we've still got a long way to go. The first step on that journey, though, will be the Euros, which we are about to potentially qualify for as we head into a group with Kazakhstan, beatable, but then Croatia, Scotland and Wales will all be battling it out for that second place qualifying spot. Now, is our team ready to be in the Euros just yet? Only time will tell. But what has happened over the last few months is Andrea Maggi, the centre-back we boosted, is now a very good defender and has got a move to Atalanta as well. He was previously playing in the Italian leagues for a non-league side and now has made his way to Serie A, so a big boost for him. And those youth intake players we boosted earlier are starting to develop a bit. Still not great, but they are now getting into the international team. We've got Fusellini and of course Bartolomei, who you've just seen, but Broccoli is the one that I think has came along the most and now might even be our starting right back. But this is going to be a long slog of a qualification group. The first two teams we'll be facing in March are going to be Croatia and at home to Wales. Now Croatia ranked 17th will be far too good for us right now, but Wales ranked 29th would represent the biggest team we've faced that I think could actually be winnable. Now if we go ahead and beat them, I think that'll be a huge result to beat a team ranked in the top 30, so that's going to be our challenge. If we do it, we'll get a wheel spin. Can we beat the Welsh? Well, like I said, the aim was to beat the Welsh, but to show just how far this team's come, Croatia, ranked 17th in the world, actually struggled against us. Pele managed to make it 1-0, and if it wasn't for a defensive mistake allowing a Croatia equaliser, we would have beat them. The Welsh, though, were not having a good time against us, as Pele managed to make it 1-0 after 5 minutes. That was soon 2 goals. And as seems to be the way with San Marino, before half-time, we had got ourselves 3-0 up, through Nani this time. And despite a little bit of a fight back from Wales, it did not matter, because we went on to win the game 5-2. Actually, Andrea Maggi, the defender that we boosted, he managed to score an own goal to help Wales, but outside of that, we absolutely smashed it. Petr Cech is still playing for Vålerenga and managing to do well in goal, but the team around him is strengthening year on year, game on game, and of course, beating Wales has meant we can strengthen further with another spin of the wheel. And we are getting to the stage now where we're running out of options on this wheel, but our next one, oh, this could be really cool. A top 10 player loan. So with this, what I'm going to be able to do is pick up one of the current top 10 best players in the world in this Football Manager game. We're going to be able to have them only on a loan though, so just for a tournament. So for this, we're qualifying for the Euros. If we make it, then they'll play in the Euros, but after that, they'll be out. So they won't be with us for the World Cup, but they'll be a good boost in the meantime. Now, in terms of the world's best player, the current one is actually Diego Pele. Now, if we have a look outside of him, Erling Haaland and Nico Williams completed the top 3 of the Ballon d'Or, and last season, it was Nico Williams himself who won it. Now, looking at the likes of Haaland and Mbappe, it would be a striker, maybe even a left winger if you think about Mbappe that way. But I don't think that's where we need a player. On the right could be the perfect place. So for that reason, I'm looking at Nico Williams and thinking, you know what? He looks like he could wear a San Marino shirt. And just like that, we add Nico Williams to our San Marino team. Now, is this team a little bit unrealistic at this point? Maybe. Is our bench full of players that are probably working on the building sites midweek? Yes. But does our starting 11 feature a wonderkid in Lewis Miley? Yes, it does. Enzo Fernandez, a World Cup winner. Yes. Ballon d'Or winning Rodri. Ballon d'Or winning now Nico Williams. The best striker and the best goalkeeper in the world. And a centre-back capable of playing for Atalanta. This team isn't so bad anymore, and I actually think first 11 wise, we can compete with a lot of people. Our left side is pretty weak though. Nicolo Nani, bless him, is trying at left wing, and Alessandro Tosi at left back. I mean, God even knows where he's playing his football. That's a bit of a challenge, but this team has managed to beat Wales. They've managed to beat the Republic of Ireland. Up next was Scotland, and in my head, if we could beat Wales and beat Scotland too, I mean, who's next? England? And now, at this point, we're doing pretty well in the qualifying group. We're going to go all the way. The challenge is, if we can get to the point where we're actually qualifying for the Euros, that's going to be another wheel spin. Okay, it's been a long, hard slog in this qualification group. We've managed to beat the likes of Scotland, Kazakhstan before losing to Croatia, and then losing in the reverse fixture to Scotland. And it basically led up to a moment where if we won our final game, we qualify for the Euros. If we lost it, it will be Scotland that takes our place. And thankfully, the team we had to play was the worst in the group, Kazakhstan, and Pele had a field day. That's already 2 goals that you're seeing for him, chipping the keeper. And you can probably guess who's about to get on the end of this cross from Nico Williams. Yep, hat-trick hero Pele. And with that, we eventually won the game 5-0. And San Marino, little old San Marino, are going to the Euros. Now, if we did not beat Kazakhstan there, Scotland could have potentially have overtaken us and qualified with Croatia. But we've got the job done. 5 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, including the 5-0 away loss to Scotland. So that can still happen, but we have done it. We've qualified for the Euros, our first major tournament, and we've got a wheel spin to go with it. So let's see what we're going to add to this already pretty super team, and we are getting, okay, a forward plus 100 CA. Now CA stands for current ability in Football Manager, so I can now upgrade one of our attackers by 100 points. Now, at right wing, we've of course got Nico Williams, who does not need an improvement like that, and Diego Pele, our striker, cannot get better. On the left wing though, Nicola Nani has been a legend of the San Marino's national team, giving us game after game, goal after goal, and if anyone deserves an upgrade, I think it's him. So he jumps from 94 current ability to 194, which is going to make him one of the best players in the whole of world football. So I think the only thing to do now is to simulate ahead and see just how good he's going to get. And now we are here in 2028. We're getting further and further in this video. If you are still enjoying, make sure you smash the like button, but it is the Euros year, and we've seen a big improvement to some of our players. The first one is, of course, Nicola Nani, who's been picked up by AC Milan as an important player for them as a striker and a left winger, and as you can see, with that current ability boost, he is now an unbelievable forward option. At the same time, Petr Kac, our goalkeeper, has moved to go and play for AC Milan as well, getting that move to a big club from Vålerenga. He moved on a free, but it's good to see his ability is now reflected with the club he's at. And for the youngsters we've been keeping an eye on, there's now 7 cats for Stefano Bartolome, who is the centre-back with big potential. Mr. Broccoli at right-back has developed enough to earn himself a move soon to Juventus. And Michael Forcellini is currently under a bid from FC Dallas to go to the MLS, and again, he's developing too. Now, our Euros group is yet to come out this year, but we have 2 friendlies, Armenia, who I believe we should beat, ranked 88th, and Norway, ranked 29th. Currently, our nation is ranked 152nd, but it is now going to be the battle of Diego Pele and Erling Haaland. So Norway is the challenge, and again, if we beat them, we'll spin that wheel ahead of the Euros. Now, Armenia was pretty comfortable. Nicola Nani scored a hat-trick, and Pele got a hat-trick too, winning 6-0, showing our 2 attackers are on fire. But it was time to face off against the Norwegians, where actually Haaland was out for the game, and we went 1-0 up through Nani. He was proving to be a deadly goal scorer now with his new ability, and Pele was having to step to the side to let him score, but unfortunately, we ended up letting Norway score as well for Oscar Bob. But clearly he wanted a wheel spin, because in the 86th minute, a Pele corner found Nani, who headed home again. That got us to win against Norway ahead of the Euros, a massive victory, and another spin of the wheel. Where I'm hoping at this point we get another maybe defender-based item. We'll see what we're going to land on as we get a 200 potential wonderkid spawn. That means we can now make a wonderkid who has the ability to be the best player ever. He's not going to start there, and he's going to have to develop to get to that point, but having that much potential, he's bound to fulfill at least a bit of it. And I picked this guy to be the man, Samari's youngster Claudio Conte, who is playing his football currently for SS Cosmos in the San Marino leagues. He is a player that's been there for a few years and is already doing well, so I've gone ahead and I have given him 200 potential ability. He's currently sitting at 64, meaning he's not likely to get into the international team just yet, but hopefully he starts to fill it. The idea is, with Nico Williams not being around forever, Conte will hopefully transition as Williams goes after the Euros and become our starting right winger. But of course, I mentioned the Euros, the fact we're going to be in it, and we've just been told who's going to be in our group. And it's not looking good, because we've been put in the biggest group of death in Euros history. England, France, Germany, and San Marino, which is just punishment for us for getting this far. If we have a look at the other groups, Group A, Serbia, Turkey, Portugal, Ukraine, we would have had that. Switzerland, Netherlands, Spain, Romania, we could have done that too maybe. And it's pretty simple for me, get 1 win in this Euros group. 1 win against one of these elite nations, and I'll class that as good enough for a wheel spin for whatever the next tournament is. I assume the World Cup, because the Euros is not going to last long. So, my assumption was with the group we were in, we were going to get battered every game. But our team had something about it that meant that that wasn't happening. The tournament began with a 4-3 loss to France, showing we could compete, but we were going to get beat on most cases. But Nani and Pele helped us to a shock 4-2 victory over England in the other group game, meaning it was just us against Germany to decide who was going through to the next round of the Euros. Now, there were no goals in this game, but there was a red card for Germany after Nico Williams got hacked down from behind. So chasing the win against 10 men, we push forward, Pele managed to knock it through to Nani, only for another Germany red to take him out. But even against 9 men, in the end, it wasn't enough. We couldn't get the win and we only got a draw. But it did not matter because it was enough for us to get over the line and qualify in second place. France got 6 points, England only got 3 and Germany got 3, but beating them on goal difference was San Marino, and that meant we were into the second round, where Erling Haaland was very quiet and Nicola Nani was powering the header home to help beat them 5-2. And suddenly San Marino are in the quarterfinals of the Euros, which we shouldn't be, but I was very happy to be there. And we were against a European giant in the Netherlands. Now, Nico Williams tore up his defender and found Pele for the header. The Dutch did get one back though, and it required another set-piece goal from the head of Nani to put us back in front before he got a third from another corner. It ended up winning 3-2, and it just shows, as Mikel Arteta has shown this season, if you've got a good corner taker and a guy to head it in, you've got a winning formula. I haven't even got any kind of special corner tactic on. You've just got two absolute ridiculous beasts of the game playing together, and it's working, so into the semis we went. Our opponents on the day were Turkey, who proved to be a very tough challenge and more than I expected. And in the 89th minute, Yildiz scored, and that was San Marino knocked out of the Euros. A semi-final exit. Unfortunately, we didn't make it to the final, but at the end of the day, we weren't even expecting to win one game, so we still get the wheel spin, and we get the confidence that come the next World Cup tournament, we could be in with a chance of winning. Especially if this next wheel spin is a good one, and we are landing on whole team plus 25 current ability. Now, I'd say in terms of a team boost, this is the best one in the whole list. Everyone's going to get a slight increase to their ability, which will make the unusable people slightly less unusable, and the good people amazing. So every player in this squad, from Lewis Miley to Andrea Maggi, the centre-back who is already very good, and even Enzo Fernandez, they're going to get the boost of 20 points, whilst also you'll be seeing people like Filippo Berardi, age 32, actually getting a little bit better as he gets towards his twilight years of his career in a San Marino shirt, and even these people that are probably still builders, they're going to get improvements too. But with the Euros out of the way, the next tournament we'll be focusing on is the World Cup, but in the meantime, there'll be some more Nations League games to play. In fact, looking ahead, we're in a group that, again, I think we could win and get promoted from. Wales, Ukraine and Iceland. It's going to be a challenge, but one I think we can handle, so let's simulate ahead to the end of the Nations League and see if our team was good enough to get to the next tier. Now, not only have we just finished the Nations League campaign this year, but also a lot of those players' abilities that we boosted have kicked in. So the likes of Claudio Conte has improved and he's gone to West Ham along the way, whilst we've also seen players like Filippo Fabri become good enough that I actually think he could maybe play in the Serie A now. So with this improved team of both the young players and the older players that have now been improved, were they good enough to win the Nations League? And were they good enough? Yes, they were. With 6 wins out of 6, 29-4, only conceding 6, a goal difference of 23 and 18 points. Iceland get 0, Ukraine with 10 and Wales with 7. We won 6 games and by some huge margins as well. You can see 4-0, 5-3, 4-0, 5-2, 7-0 against Ukraine. Our team is flying now and we've got to a world ranking position of 102. And now the next step is all focus on the World Cup coming up. We'll have some games before that, but we have got our target of winning that Nations League group, and that means another spin for the San Marinese. And there's now only 4 things on this wheel, so let's hope we get a good one as it spins and we land on steal a player from a top 10 nation. That could be useful. Currently, the 10th place nation in the world is Uruguay, so that's where we'll be stealing a player from. And if we look at their national team by value, you've got the likes of Federico Valverde, Manuel Ugarte. As midfielders though, do we really want them? They've got some good attackers like Palestri and Torres, but for me, the one that's standing out in an area that we're crying out for, centre-back, Ronald Araujo, probably got one tournament in him. If we can bring him in for the World Cup, that could be a huge boost. And there you have it, PSG's starting centre-back, Ronald Araujo, leaves Uruguay to be a San Marino international. He is going to be a huge boost to our defence, and he's going to come in and hopefully help us on our campaign for the World Cup. Where our next job, of course, is to qualify, and with a pretty tough World Cup qualifying group and only one team that goes through, it's going to be a tough old ass, but we're going to go for it, and if we can qualify for that World Cup, it's going to mean another spin of the wheel. And with all eyes secured on getting into that World Cup, I think we've put ourselves in as good a position as we could have asked for with one game left to do the job. The team I expected to be the best in our group, Belgium, we started with a 3-3 draw against, before beating Liechtenstein 10-0, Romania 5-0, and Azerbaijan by 13, putting us in a great position for the rest of the group. We then won some more, drew some more, including against Greece, and come the final game of our group, it was neck and neck. We were going to be facing off against the Greeks for that chance of qualifying for the World Cup, who were the only team close, with Belgium on 15 points, Greece on 20, us on 21. Whoever came out as victor in that final game would qualify for the World Cup finals. And in typical San Marino fashion, we got off to a great start through a set piece, but the Greeks know how to fight and they managed to battle back and make it 1-1. Youngster Conti got down the right wing though and found Pele, who managed to get the ball back into the area for Nani to finish, and before we knew it we had three, another one from Pele. The young right back Broccoli had made his way into the team and found youngster Conti, who had replaced Nico Williams, having now left the team, and he scored a brilliant goal. And with the minutes ticking on and already 4-1 up, we qualified in style, Huber getting into the area and scoring his first international goal to make it 5. And just like that, San Marino qualified for the World Cup, beating Greece, Belgium, the only two teams I think really could have challenged us to that position. As a nation ranked 87th, we'll be heading to the World Cup finals, and it all started thanks to one man. And that was of course Diego Pele, who is now a PSG player. He'd moved there in the summer and he's now scored 9 goals in 9 games for them, not half bad, but of course for our team, he's obviously still here and we're going to be able to add more. With one more wheel spin for getting the qualification for the World Cup, let's see how we can improve our San Marino side. And with only 3 things left, there's not much choice, but we land on yellow, which is Steeler Max 5 million value player. Now this might have helped us a bit more earlier, but it basically means we can take any player from world football, assuming their price is a maximum of 5 mil. And I think I've spotted a good one. You see, currently in our team, our best left back is Huber, who has managed to move to Cincinnati in the MLS, but he's not exactly a World Cup winning type, and is primarily a right back. Whilst Alessandro Tosi is still somehow in the squad, and is our other only left back option. So we're light there, so I went and found a left back for 5 mil. And it's not exactly a name that you automatically associate with a San Marino player, but Shin Kang-hyun has swapped South Korea for San Marino. He was playing for Ulsan in the South Korean leagues. I spotted him there, through his value, and thought, you know what, we're getting a player for under 5 million. He was valued at, as you can see, about 3 mil, so way under budget, and he's also got the potential, being young, to get better. So he comes in as a left back option, already plenty good enough to walk straight into our team, and we're gonna need it because up next is the World Cup, where our group for the tournament actually looks pretty doable. We've got Colombia in there, ranked 33rd in the world, Mexico ranked 8th, who have got way better in this FM world, and Nigeria ranked 19th. But there's only one thing to do now, and that's to play the group and hope we qualify for the later stages of the World Cup. And with a pretty tough group ahead of us, I've got to say, I've been more than impressed by our San Marino team. Because against the 8th place nation in the world, we were already 2-0 up in the second half, and Nani got his head to the ball to manage to eventually get it in with Pele, the two of them combining. So that was Mexico beat and Nigeria were up next, who did actually manage to get off to a very good start as Victor Boniface got into the area and somehow beat our amazing keeper at near post. But we battled back. We knew we probably needed to win this game to qualify out the group with 2 victories. Conti found Nani, who headed home again to equalise. And late on, Luis Miley found Enzo Fernandez into Margie and then Rodri, who we have not spoke about for a long while. What a strike, deflected, it goes in, and that was another win. We then dispatched Colombia 4-0, meaning we had smashed it in our group. No one else got more than 3 points, but San Marino qualified for the next stage of a World Cup with 9 points. And of course, going into the late stages, we've earned ourselves another spin of the wheel, where there's only 2 choices now of what we could potentially get, and we're gonna land on the midfielder plus 100. Now obviously we had up for a defender, great, attacker, great, but then midfielder, we've already got Rodri, Enzo Fernandez, and of course Luis Miley, so this might feel like overkill. But I've taken this guy, Lorenzo Capiccioni, and I've gone ahead and boosted his rating to 186 in the hope that he'll get there at some point in this tournament and then start to contribute in the late stages. But credits to some of the other guys who are still here, like Filippo Fabri, who's been here since minute 1 and got a move to Lazio now, Filippo Berardi as well, is retiring after this tournament, and what a great thing it will be to send him off potentially with a World Cup trophy. But obviously, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're now in the late stages of the World Cup, and we're going to see how we can do. There's going to be some big teams ahead of us, but we have proven we can take them on and hopefully go all the way. Up first was a match I think we would have asked for against Hungary, where we beat them 6-1. Pele scored 4. In the round of 16, it was Algeria, where Conte, Pele and Nani were all on fire, all getting goals, but it was a Pele hat-trick that eventually got us a 6-2 victory. But now, it started to get serious. The quarter-final draw came out, and we got put against Spain. And it was a very tough match. There was not much in it at all, but when the chance came for Nani to win the header, of course he did it, of course he scored, sent the fans wild, and we were into a World Cup semi, but we were against England, a side that have walloped San Marino on many an occasion. It was time for revenge, and Nani scored a bullet header to make it 1-0. And in that same half, Broccoli got down the right wing, put a cross in, and found that head of Nani again at the back post to make it 2. I thought it was going to be an easy win into the final, and maybe even an easy World Cup win, but that wasn't going to be the case as England fought back and Jude Bellingham got a goal for them. And England kept mounting on the pressure as Adam Wharton found Johnson, who scored a great finish past our keeper to equalise. In the second half though, it was a very tough battle, but Rodri picked up the ball on the edge of the area, found Araujo, whose ball into Conte, onto Nani, was slotted in. And just as it looked like we had a final on our hands, we gave away a penalty, Bellingham scored, and that was it. It was a draw, and into a penalty shootout we went. And it's the first time really we're going to ask questions of that 200 ability keeper, and he made a great save straight away. Everyone scored their penalties after that until another save was made from Declan Rice, meaning it all fell on Ronaldo Araujo. If he scored, we were in the World Cup final, and he did it. So this was it, the chance for the best player in the world, Diego Pele, to take the San Marino national team to World Cup glory. Standing in our way was France. With a mixture of San Marino new gens and players stolen from other nations, we were taking on one of the best teams in the world, and of course, it was a Nani header to put us in front. After that though, he was pretty quiet in this match in a game that would eventually lead to him going off injured, but fear not, we have another great player on our hands in Pele, who made it too. The French national team though are no slouches, and they've got a few players by the likes of, who's this, Mbappe, ever heard of him? Nor me. Well, he scored a great goal to make it 2-1, but Pele, from the spot, was able to make it 3 in the second half. But we weren't willing to just sit on 3 goals, so when Shin Kan-hyun got forward and played through Pele for his hat-trick in a World Cup final, there was no doubt he'd finish. And despite France mounting a late charge with Camavinga, it wasn't going to be enough. San Marino had won the game 4-2, and we'd won the World Cup. And this national team that was ranked 210th is now ranked 33rd with a World Cup trophy as the only trophy in their cabinet, which I think it should stay that way. That's amazing to see. And there's a few players to thank, but the main one has to be Diego Pele, who's managed to play 67 international matches and scored 133, proving even if you lock the best player on the worst national team, he can do plenty. So let me know what experiment you want to see next, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.